This is Goku-san, DBZ, and I'm sorry for being so late doing Top 12 Sunday, and today is going to be a Top 12 Personal Favorites list. Like months back I did Top 12 Favorite Movies. Today, or rather this evening, I'm doing the Top 12 Favorite Cartoons. Now, these are Top 12 Favorite Animated Shows I liked. Kid, teenager, and some I may still enjoy today. But, so obviously, most of the stuff's going to be from 80s and 90s. And yeah, since it's cartoons, strictly American animated stuff, this excludes Japanese stuff, so that'll be in our time for like Top 12 Favorite Animes list. Okay. So, and first I thought I would mention and talk about honorable mentions before I actually get to the actual list. First honorable mention is, of course, the classic Looney Tunes with Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, Porky the Pig, of course, Roadrunner, and Wile E. Coyote. A lot of classics. You can't beat it. And, of course, we can't forget Taz. But, it was a cartoon I enjoyed. Just wasn't one of my absolute favorites. But I still appreciate it. Next is, on honorable mentions, is Tiny Toons, which is, of course, about the nephew of, like, Bugs Bunny. Of course, that being, trying to remember now his name, and, of course, which was Blue. Then, of course, you had, the girl, which was Pink. And you had the nephew of Daffy Duck, and the original Looney Tunes characters were, of course, teachers. And the actual executive producer of Tiny Toons was, interestingly, Steven Spielberg. So it was interesting, to say the least. Next honorable mention is the Disney animated series called Rescue Rangers, which, of course, was about, had, like, character like Fat Cat, and you had, Chip and Dale, obviously, since it was Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, main characters, but you had others. They even had an episode that dealt with a cult called the Cuckoo Cola or whatever cult. Yeah, dealt with some interesting issues that you wouldn't normally see in animated shows. Next, of course, the always classic, Scooby-Doo. Which is one of my friends, probably his hands-down favorite animated show of all time, but it's just an honorable mention for me. Next is the animated Superman series from the 90s, which was really good and very enjoyable. Next is the medieval-era Disney show called Gummy Bears. Yeah, bouncing here and there and everywhere. Yeah. It was really, really cheesy, to say the least, obviously. And, yeah, it was just as cheesy as you could get. But keep in mind, it was 80s when it came out. So you have to be forgiving for that. Next, Tailspin, which, of course, revolves around Blue. You have Kit Cloud Kicker. And you have Rebecca Cunningham, and of course we can't forget Don Cornage, the pirate, which had like 7 different accents throughout the show. He was completely hilarious. Hands down, probably my favorite animated pirate. Well, comedic pirate, probably until Jack Sparrow's, basically. I just love Don Carnage. Probably my favorite character in the whole Tailspin series. And, of course, you had some of the classics like Baloo. You had Shere Khan, which was a corporate tycoon. And, of course, we had Louie, obviously. And a few other characters from Jungle Book that were in it. But those were the main ones. But it was really hilarious show. Awesome show. I just loved Tailspin. It was just funny. Next, honorable mention, the second to the last two honorable mentions. Beetlejuice, the animated series, which was around for like 3 seasons. Now, the movie, I'm obsessed, and is hands down my #1 favorite Tim Burton film of all time. But I really enjoyed, and I have to admit, it's definitely a WTF animated series. It's just out there. And you can tell Tim Burton played some influence, and you can tell the music was done by Danny Elfman, as always. Anything that involves Tim Burton basically has to have Danny Elfman, let's face it. And the last honorable mention is Mortal Kombat Defenders of the Realm. And most people out there, kids today and stuff, probably have never heard this animated series. It was on in the mid-90s. It was on USA Network on Sunday mornings. Raiden was, of course, the main character. You had all of a sudden, like, outworld forces that become invading the realm, but not just of Outworld, but from other dimensions. Only ones that can stop them is Liu Kang, Princess Kitana, Sub-Zero, Jax, Nightwolf, Kiba, Curtis Stryker. Of course, you have also Sonya Blade and stuff, but really awesome group there of all those different defenders work together. Like in episodes they face Baraka, of course, and yeah, it's rated TVY7, 7 up, completely clean, no bad language, no blood. Still awesome because it was actually the first time I was ever introduced to Quan Chi was in this show. This was like 95, so he was introduced in the show around the time of Mortal Kombat Trilogy, so he wasn't introduced in the video games until like 2 years after Defenders of the Realm. Now, Defenders of the Realm only existed, I think, like one season or so, around 20-some episodes, but it was still really enjoyable and awesome nevertheless. It was great. And I recommend you check it out here on YouTube. You can find a few episodes, and yeah, it's called Mortal Kombat Defenders of the Realm. It's pretty cool. Okay, and also this list will actually allow Anim 3D shows with 2D. Number 12 is a tie between two awesome shows. First is a classic late 90s show from, of course, back when Cartoon Network was actually cool. SWAT Kats. Awesome, awesome show. Two epically awesome animated cats who fly around and they're really just epic fighter jet that can do all kinds of stuff. You have really cool villains. And the music is awesome because you got like heavy metal and stuff in it. I mean, seriously, this was one of the shows that introduced me to metal music. So I have to thank SWAT Kats for introducing me to hard rock and metal. Awesome animated shows like SWAT Kats are what got me into hard rock and metal, so thank you all the way. And tied with it is an animated show which was considered amazing for the mid-90s. It was the first full 3D animated TV series. Like Toy Story was the first full 3D animated feature film, this was the first on TV, and it was on Fox. Back when it was called Fox Kids. It's called Reboot. And yeah, you can actually find it still. I think it may be on Hulu or Netflix if I'm not mistaken. In total was like 4 seasons. You had some major villains like Megabyte, Hexadecimal, and I forget the third character, and if all 3 of them are combined together, they create an ultimate evil called Gigabyte. Yes, it takes place inside a computer called Mainframe City. And you have this awesome, like, Megabyte is just so cool. Like, the voice actor who does Megabyte is just so cool. If I remember correctly, I believe the guy who does the voice in Hunchback of Notre Dame for... trying to remember his name now, the main bad guy in Hunchback of Notre Dame, animated Disney film. But the one who does... Frollo. The one who voices him actually does the voice of Megabyte. And Hexadecimal is hilarious because, like, her face and stuff can't move, so she does her hand like this, and her face changes like that. It's really kind of funny and hilarious. And she has an obsession with the main good guy, which is a peacekeeper of sorts. His name is Bob. Of all names, Bob. Oh well, who cares? But, yeah, you have interesting characters. You also have, of course, the little awesome kid, Enzo, which always gets in trouble with, of course, his little dog. And, yeah, and you have this big, giant, purple cube that comes down. It says, it's called the gamer, or what, user, and stuff. And it says, incoming game. And if, characters and stuff from Mainframe City do not defeat the user, then basically that section of the sea will be wiped out and destroyed. Yeah, it's very interesting, I'll say, nevertheless. But I recommend check out Reboot. Coming in at number 11 is Disney's take on Batman in duck form. I am the terror that flaps in the night. Yeah, I am the ridiculous character, you must say. I am Darkwing Duck. And yes, Darkwing Duck comes in number 11. Hilarious, awesome show. I just love Darkwing Duck. It was so cheesy and hilarious, and I loved every moment of it. Not to mention Negaduck. So much nostalgia. Coming at number 10 is a one-season series that only lasts, I think, like 13 episodes, but it was awesome, on Cartoon Network. Pirates of Dark Water, which is such an awesome show. And it was on Cartoon Network at the same time period as SWAT Cats. So that was a good time for Cartoon Network. Like 97, 98 time frame was amazing on Cartoon Network. You had SWAT Cats, you had awesome Pirates of Dark Water, and so many other good shows. Coming in at number 9. The classic that's still running today. And the only one of the shows on here that is still running. The Simpsons comes in at number 9. Good classic. It's hard to believe that it's on its like 27th season, given I was just a little kid. In 1989, when Simpsons came on television, it's really hard to believe that it was on TV in 1989. It started, and 2016 is still here. And now, I was like a little 4 or 5 year old kid when Simpsons started, and now I'm 31 years old, 32 in summer. Just sad, but it's kind of insane, really, to think that Simpsons is still going. Who would have imagined Simpsons would still be going over 2.5 decades and still going? And still have pulling in millions of viewers a week. That's just insane. Coming in at number 8. From the early mid-90s on Fox. X-Men, the animated series, which had an awesome intro theme. I mean, it is just so awesome. Voice acting in general, just awesome, and not to mention, this was the show that introduced me to X-Men universe of Marvel. And awesome. I mean, characters like Beast were so cool in that. And of course, you can't beat the awesomeness of Wolverine. Of course, Xavier, Magneto, but my personal favorite, hands down favorite bad guy in all of the show, which has yet to appear in a movie, I might add. Fox, what's going on? Mr. Sinister. He was so awesome in the animated series. I just loved Mr. Sinister. It was just so cool. And then, of course, you had the introduction of Apocalypse, which everyone still praises that Apocalypse to this day. And, of course, also introduced, obviously, the 4 horsemen of the Apocalypse, like Archangel and others. It was a really enjoyable show. And I liked a lot of the voice actors they used for the show. Yeah, certain things were cheesy, but of course a lot of guys point out how Rugg was drawing and stuff in the show. And of course we really loved the Gambit in the show, was pretty cool. And the Dark Phoenix saga was awesome. And sadly Hollywood has completely failed to do so far. But the animated series did justice. Coming in at number 7 from Disney, Aladdin, the animated series. And yes, out there, about 2.5 seasons long, Aladdin animated series was on, and it took place after Aladdin. I think actually may have taken place also after Return of Jafar. Yeah, it did. But before the third Aladdin movie. So it takes place somewhere between the second and third movie. Because, as we know, Return of the Jafar movie introduced one of the main villains in the 2.5, 3-season series, Aladdin animated series, which is, of course, Abismal. And you had so many other awesome villains. One of my personal favorites, which was just a complete hilarious bad guy, Mechanicles, the greatest of the great Greek geniuses. How I loved that guy. Mechanicles was hilarious. And of course, I forget his name, the sorcerer that had the magical glove that shot power and stuff out of his hand. And let's just say he was definitely powerful. Apparently, at least from what Iago said in the show, even Jafar feared this guy. Yeah, so that says something. Coming in... Oh yeah, and one last villain I'll mention, Mirage, which was pretty cool. Coming in at number 6 is a tie between two shows. Batman, the animated series, with, of course, the classic Danny Elfman music, which was awesome and dark, and was just so cool, and you can't beat the freaking Joker, best Joker ever, hands down the animated Batman series of the 90s, voiced by none other than the great man himself. Known, of course, best as Luke Skywalker. Just awesome. I love the animated Batman's animated series. And also tied with it is Batman Beyond. And yeah, Batman Beyond is also really cool. Actually, I like Batman Beyond just a tad more, though they're tied at the same at number 6. But I love Batman Beyond. And of course we kept this and introduced some of the characters from the original series in it. Like you introduced briefly Bane for a short cameo. You had Victor Freeze, the Royal Flush Gang, even in an episode of Ra's al Ghul, however you want to say it, Ra's al Ghul. But awesome, and I love Terry McGinnis, Batman. Basically, as I said it before, Batman Beyond is like Batman meets Iron Man, because he has special abilities, jet boosters in his feet and stuff. So yeah, it has some similarities to to Iron Man in that aspects. And I like some of the villains like Shriek, and awesome, of course, one of my personal favorite villains was introduced in it, and that being Blight. Blight was just so cool. Because when you turn off the lights, he glue green and stuff, looking like a skeleton. It could throw like balls of pure radioactive material. That was just so cool. And sadly, the first season by far was the best. Second season wasn't too bad. Third season kind of disappointed me, though. I mean, I still enjoyed some, but the third season felt mostly like a filler season. But the best, I think, animated, hands down, Batman animated film was Batman Beyond, Return of the Joker. That was awesome. And come on, you can't beat Mark Hamill as freaking Joker. Hands down, the greatest ever. No one comes close to Mark Hamill. No one. And now, coming in at number 5, an animated show which theme I cannot get out of my head after like freaking 20 some years and it's still in my freaking head. And that is DuckTales at number 5. Nostalgia factor for me. I was like 5 years old the first time I ever saw DuckTales. And catchy as hell theme music. And yes, sorry. I guess this is G, not PG rated episode since I accidentally cussed. So my apologies. But awesome show. It can't be it. But it's kind of funny, some of the villains and some of the names and stuff like Magica De Spell. Like Quilla DeVille or something in duck form. Hilarious. Of course, you have the Big Ol' Boys, and we can't forget Flintheart Glumgold. And yes, I actually still remember pretty well some of the villain names, I know. Because occasionally I still watch episodes of DuckTales. On Netflix, of course. But, love it. And sadly, I still know the whole thing word for word. That's the sad part. Coming in at number 4 is a 3D animated series that is really cool. And it's a sequel to the original Transformers series, but this is actually made by the US, so the original Transformers was actually made, of course, in Japan, which is why it's not on this list. And that is Transformers Beast Wars, which stretched for 3 seasons, and then got a small 2-season branch-off series called Beast Machines, and it revolves around the Descendants, which end up duking it out and end up crushing on prehistoric Earth before humans and stuff evolved from apes, of course. And you have the descendants of the Autobots called Maximals, and the descendants of the Decepticons called Predacons. And you had some awesome, some pretty cool good guys, like Optimus Primal instead of Optimus Prime. Optimus Primal, you have earlier on Tigertron, Air Razor, Cheetor was pretty funny. Rat Trap, very sarcastic, hilarious individual. One that started out Predacon and then went Maximal and stuff. You had, that was Dinobot. You also have others like Rhinox. Trying to remember. Of course, the super cheesy Silverbolt. And on the Predacon side, you had, of course, the secret individual for the Tripredacus Council, called Tarantulas. And, of course, you had Black Arachnia, obviously. And, also, you had the main Predacons, like Quick Strike, Terrorize. Which, yeah, weird southern accent for some reason. Don't ask me why. You also had, I'm trying to think actually, a few more before I go to number 3. Oh yeah, of course the main bad guy himself, Megatron, descendant of the original Megatron. You also had, at the very beginning, Terra Swoop, Scorponok, though they got killed off. You also have, I'm trying to mirror some of the others. Oh yeah, the most hilarious, two of the most hilarious characters in the show. First, hands down, has got to be Waspinator. You know, Buzz ends up hilarious, turned into like a Yellow Jacket, or I guess technically a Wasp. Waspinator was just hilariously good, laugh, comedic stuff, good running gag. And, of course, the stupid, loyal, but dangerous of course, Inferno, which turns into a fire ant. And he always calls Megatron the royalty, or, yes, my queen. And Megatron's like, I wish you would stop calling me that. And that's just hilarious. Nostalgia's in me right now. Number 3 is by far the most mature rated of all the animated shows on this list. It's rated TVMA 17 and up, and it aired 3 seasons of amazing seasons, and it should come back on freaking air on HBO. And that is The Amazing by Todd McFarlane. My favorite indie comic ever done by my favorite comic book artist ever, Todd McFarlane, and that is Al Simmons' Spawn, the animated series. Epic, awesome, 100% loyal to the source material of the comic books. You want a show that is loyal to the comics, 100% with the blood, the language, even like some graphic elements of nudity. This is the most loyal you're ever going to get to a comic book. Is the 3 seasons of the animated Spawn series. It's just amazing. The music is incredible. It's so eerie, creepy, and it's aged very well, surprisingly. Not all animated shows from the 90s have aged as well as this, but I think maybe also because of Todd McFarlane being involved is why it's so incredibly well done. And I'm going to try to cut this part short, because I went on a little too long about Beast Wars, and, well, I absolutely can praise nonstop the Spawn animated series at number 3. Number 2 is Spider-Man, the animated series. Originally I thought about making this number 1. This is the show that got me into Marvel in the first place. This is what got me into comics. This is what got me into Spider-Man. And this show got me into other universes of Marvel because they introduced the X-Men in crossovers. They introduced Doctor Strange. They introduced Blade, Punisher. They introduced other amazing characters and some amazing villains. Obviously, Carnage, Venom, Dr. Otto Octavius, the Kingpin, Rhino, Scorpion, Green Goblin, the Hobgoblin, which, by the way, the Hobgoblin was voiced by none other than... Don't I mention his name a few minutes ago? That did Joker. Mark Hamill did the voice of Hobgoblin. Also, yeah, awesome. And at least Mary Jane wasn't quite as annoying in this as she was in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man films. But loved the voice actor and stuff who played Peter Parker Spider-Man. I thought he had the sarcasm and tone it perfectly nailed down for the character. I just really loved it. And of course, you also got introduced to Iron Man in the show. You even got introduced to Baron Mordo and the crossover with Doctor Strange. And also, you got introduced to Dormammu, which was pretty cool. And at the very end of the series, you got introduced to a character's pal that has powers on scale with Thanos and Galactus. And his name is the Beyonder, with Madam Web. Which Beyonder's powers are insane level. As I say, he's on the same scale as Galactus in power. And of course, you have awesome characters like Black Cat. Also, they introduced Captain America, Red Skull, the Chameleon. There's so many amazing characters I was introduced to, and this is what turned me into a hardcore Marvel fan, through and through. Coming in at number 1, hands down favorite animated series of all time, by Disney. And this is the show that got me obsessed with my favorite subject, theology, as well as it got me obsessed with history, ancient, as well as like ancient history on like the Celts, the Druids, the Incas, the Egyptians. I mean, you go on and on. It's just incredible. This is a show that got me into all that. And it had three voice actors in the show that were from Star Trek: The Next Generation. And that show's name? Gargoyles. Was it some like 2,000 years ago when like it was an age of it was a time of darkness. It was the age of gargoyles when Therian stuff in the sword world. Stone by day, soldiers by night. We were betrayed by the humans we were sworn to protect, frozen in spell for 1,000 years. Here in Manhattan, the spell is broken, and we live again. I'm sorry, I could quote we are defenders of the night. We are gargoyles. Goliath, amazing. And by the way, the voice actor who does Goliath also does the voice of Al Simmons, Spawn, in the animated Spawn show, so that's just awesome. Goliath is just so cool. And the villains, come on. Xanatos is one of the greatest animated villains of all time, hands down. I would actually love to see Gargoyles made into live-action format, or make like a newer Gargoyle show loyal to the original. The voice acting was superb, the quality of the animation was top-notch, and the first and second season, the stories were so incredible. It's what got me obsessed with mythology in the first place, was this show. It's what planted the seeds for my influence and for my obsession with theology and mythology in general. I mean, it got me obsessed with the mischievous god Puck. And, of course, we can't forget about Lord Oberon, Lord of Avalon, king of the Druid gods and goddesses. And, of course, his queen of Avalon, Queen Titania, which is the parents believed by characters such as Odin. And, of course, such as other characters like the Banshee and many others. It's very fascinating, actually. But I'll get ready to cut this up. I hope you all enjoyed this. This is Goku-Sen DBC signing out. See you soon enough here in YouTube Land, starting next week for the special 4-week Monster-themed month. And the first list next week will be the top 12 Generation 1 Pokemon. So stay tuned for that. If you like Pokemon, please thumbs up this video, subscribe, share my video, and leave a comment below. Tell me what your favorite animated shows were from like the 80s and 90s. And one of these in particular shows you really enjoyed and your favorite characters. Follow me at twitter.com/GokuSenDBZ, as well as on Google Plus/GokuSenDBZ. And stay tuned for my next comic book review I'll be doing. Issue 2 of Street Fighter Unlimited. Stay tuned for that, since I got pretty good response for the first issue. So I hope you all enjoy Issue 2 comic book review. And as always, I hope you all have a good upcoming February starting tomorrow. And I'll see you all again soon enough here in YouTube Land.